Do you ever feel like people are out to get you? That's a terrible feeling. But do you know what's even worse? When they really are. Hey there, I'm Jonathan Atwell, lead pastor of CrossRoads Church. This is lesson 3 in a series of lessons about resilience. Life is full of trauma for all of us. Resilience is our ability to get back to a place of wellness after we face trauma. In the last Bible lesson, you can catch it up here, we saw Joseph get sold into slavery by his brothers. Man, that stinks. That is trauma. In this lesson, we're going to see him move up the ladder to a place of authority only to be betrayed and find himself in a terrible place all over again. Over the next few minutes, you're going to read the next story in the life of Joseph. In a moment, I'm going to encourage you to pause the video and read Genesis 39, 1 through 20. If you don't have a Bible, I'll link the passage in the description below. And after you read the story, I want you to take a minute to retell the story to yourself in your own words. Once you've done that, start the video again, and we'll work through the 3 questions we use here at CrossRoads to understand how faith in Jesus can give you resilience, even when people are trying to ruin your life. Wow, what a story of resilience, right? Now, think through the first 2 questions we ask when we read the Bible at CrossRoads. The first one is, what does it say about God? And the second is, what does it say about people? So pause the video for a moment and answer those questions for yourself, just so you have answers before we really start to talk about it. All right, first, what does this story say about God? Well, the God who was there when Joseph was sold into slavery was also the God who in this story gave him success. Did you catch that in verse 3? His master saw the Lord was with him and made him successful in everything he did. It's great, right? We've already seen in Joseph's story that sometimes God allows horrible things to happen in our lives. But we see here that the God who is there in those hard moments, when those traumatic things happen, is also the God who restores us and gives us resilience. And I think in Joseph's story, we see a couple different kinds of resilience. There's God's supernatural work making Joseph successful. And there's also resilience driven by Joseph's faith in God's faithfulness to him. Faith in God's faithfulness, it frees you to get up when life knocks you down. That brings us to the next question. What does it say about people? We can be resilient. We can also be faithful. Joseph knew his place. He was in charge of everything his master owned, except he was never to touch his master's wife. He was faithful to his master. He was also faithful to God. And when his master's wife made inappropriate demands, Joseph refused her. He didn't play her games. He didn't feel sorry for himself and do this thing that might have made him feel better, that might have given him some kind of prestige in the household. And what happened? He paid for it. When he denied Potiphar's wife, she ruined his life. She lied and sent him to prison. Wow, right? But that's not the end of Joseph's story. His story of resilience will continue. We'll wait until next week to talk a little bit more about it. So the third question we always talk about here at CrossRoads when we read the Bible is, so what do you need to do about it? How do you need to respond to this story? As we've been talking about resilience, we've emphasized the importance of obediently doing the thing God would have us to do. And that's important when it comes to resilience, because when you obey God by intentionally doing something and it works, your brain rewards you. You feel good about it, right? But not just that. Your brain also solidifies a pathway in your brain related to that thing you chose to do. So the next time you have the opportunity to do that thing, it'll be easier for you. Back to the question, what do you need to do about it? And I want to help you out here. If you found yourself in a hard place, here's one way you can maybe answer this question. I want you to think of a super resilient person in your life. We all know somebody like that. One who believes in Jesus and follows him. And I want you to think of that person and ask yourself, what would that person do if they found themselves where I am right now? And then do the hard part. Do the thing they would do. And I want to encourage you also, if you need some help, go talk to them. Ask that person in your life, what would you do in my situation? Or maybe even ask them for help or accountability to make sure you do the thing that you need to do. Now, once you've decided what you need to do, I want to give you a tool to help you do it. I want you to practice. Doctors using brain scans have found that when people mentally rehearse doing something, many of the same places in their brains become active as when they actually do that thing. Now, of course, there's no substitute for doing it, but a little rehearsal may actually help. And so I want to encourage you, if you've got a hard thing you need to do to be resilient, rehearse it in your mind. Imagine the scenario taking place. Imagine yourself doing it. Play that over in your mind several times until you start feeling more confident about it. And then do that thing. And if you need some help, send me a note at info@crossroadsfortworth.org. Man, I'd love to help you find resilience in the middle of whatever you're dealing with. And if you're somebody who's looking for a place to follow Jesus with people who really care about you and who want you to live a resilient life, man, come see us this Sunday maybe at 9:15 at 147 E Hurst Blvd in Hurst, Texas, or find out more about Crossroads at crossroadsfortworth.org. And this week, have a great week discovering Jesus.